this month's book discussion. We are 18 minutes late because we had, the going live problems with people not getting into Restream. But we are here now, and we are Ebba and Christina, and you are new for this live session since some years back. You have been on before.
Yes,
on our
I
channel.
am an old member, but returning for the first time since we do these live streams.
Yes, so today we're going to discuss The Pisces by Melissa Broder, or Broder as you say, Ebba. And this description on Goodreads is this. Lucy has been writing her dissertation about Sappho for 13 years when she and Jamie break up. After she hits rock bottom in Phoenix, her Los Angeles-based sister insists Lucy house sit for the summer. Her only task caring for a beloved diabetic dog and trying to learn to care for herself. Annika's home is a gorgeous glass cube atop Venice Beach, but Lucy can find no peace from her misery and anxiety, not in her love addiction group therapy meetings, not in frequent Tinder meetups, not in Dominic's the foxhound's easy affection, not in rumination. What? Sorry, I don't know that word. Rumination on the ancient Greeks. Yet everything changes when Lucy becomes entranced by an eerily attractive swimmer one night while sitting alone on the beach rocks. And then it just says a little bit about the book. Whip smart, neurotical, funny, sexy, and above all fearless. The Pisces is built on a premise both sirenic and incredible real. Yeah, that's exactly what I feel about it. What happens when you think love will save you, but are afraid it might also kill you? So yes, what did you think about this book? I haven't finished it. I don't know, have you finished it? You too?
Yeah, I finished it.
I have also finished it, yes.
Good. So yes, just generally about the book. What did you think?
Have we decided speaking order, or we're just jumping in on each other?
We're just jumping in, I think. And it's also better, as Ebba kind of talked about on our last hangout that we did ERL, that sometimes when we do the same, it's always be like the last people don't have much to add. So I was kind of thinking of that's a good idea. And Lilian and Ebba is very opinionated. No, I'm kidding. No, so I think we can just mix it up a bit. And we are
this
not
book
so many.
was definitely different from what we normally read.
Yes.
And I'm not sure I liked it. It wasn't a hard read. I didn't feel like giving up, but if this was like the start of a series, I probably would drop it. Let's say that 3 stars, maybe 2.5. But it was okay to finish. I finished it.
Yeah, my general thoughts is that I feel a bit catfished by this book, to be honest. Which could have been. So what I mean by that is like the cover art for. I don't know if because I have seen like later on that there is a different version, but like the cover art and also the description, I feel like was. Sorry.
Do you have the book there? I only read it on Kindle, so I haven't seen it.
Actually, put it over there.
Right, yeah.
Pointing my finger while using my brain was really hard when right there. So it's like I felt like the way the book looked and the description kind of made me feel like, oh yeah, like this is a contemporary romance-ish book. Like romance might not be, it's going to be a huge part, but it might be kind of a different focus. But I didn't expect it to be so realistic and so maybe a bit depressing at times, like I know Kerstin felt like. So I did feel a bit catfished, even though I liked it a lot, actually. I think I gave it 4 stars. We can get in a bit more about that. But if one looks up the author and what her previous works are, it makes more sense. I get that the book is the way it is, and like this is, but just like if this was the first thing and the description, it just wasn't entirely clear like what kind of book it was. And I don't read that much of reviews before either. I like skim, and then I'm like, oh, check it out or no, and then fine. So yeah, but like I liked it a lot, but it's complicated in a way. So yeah, we can get into that later.
Yes. And I agree only on what you said, but also I'm not really sure if I like it also. It's kind of hard because it's so realistic but it's also I kind of learn stuff about myself, because I'm often opinionated about how sex is described in the books we read and that it's not real enough. And now I just feel like, oh, I know why I want to read about these fantasy sex things, because the fantasy is what we want. We don't want the real. So I was like, I kind of learned that I will never, ever again complain about sex not being described in a real way, because this was so, down to the urine, what you say, contraction, is that? I was thinking
attractive function,
yeah. That was like so real to me, like instantly. Oh god. So, and it was really depressing, and oh god, that group of women, it's just so much. And yes, I do feel that it's definitely an interesting book to read, and I'm really interested to know what you read about her and what you found out about it. But because yes, it is an interesting book, but it's not maybe the books I want to read or like to read. But I'm happy that I did, and I will finish it if I have like 45 minutes. But yes, I don't know if you said that live, but I listened to it, and no, you shouldn't listen to it. I don't know. You read it on Kindle. It's only me on audiobook. Now it's not an audiobook.
I can't imagine it being good as an audiobook.
No, it isn't. It's very awkward. Yeah, and you're like,
I would be super embarrassed to listen to this book. I think.
Yes, it's very. And I was like going on my bicycle looking like this. Because
and the people you pass are like, what's wrong?
Yeah, but what's the fuck is going on? No, because I always just because I need to just make time to read. That's just something I do. Like I have 20 minutes to listen, so I always do that. But it's just no, this is not a good way to listen.
I'm sorry to tell you, but you do have like at least one depressing scene or scenario ahead of you, I think. So I mean, it's going to be. Yeah, that's not going to be fun for your bike ride.
Yeah, but, I do understand that's what it's kind of going to, but I'm kind of, I don't know. I think.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to brace for spoilers because.
Yeah, it's okay, and I also kind of want it to be that kind of ending. For some reason, I know it's kind of morbid of me, but I feel like that should be the best ending. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think she's going to kill herself. I don't know if she does, but
I'm thinking of something different though.
It's different, okay.
Yes, yeah. So
I thought she was going to drown herself.
I'm not gonna, no comment on that one.
Okay,
but
no
there's
comment.
something
Okay.
else
Yes.
up ahead,
Yeah.
unfortunately, which is worse. I don't know if that's
It's
a good
worse.
way to
Oh
word it, but
God.
it's
Oh my
worse.
God. And I know it. And the thing about the dog, I hate the thing about the dog. I am like, I think that's just happened where I am right now.
Oh, okay. So,
Oh,
okay.
the dog.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
and
Then
I
you're in the
knew
clear.
that was gonna happen. When she started to give, I knew that was gonna happen, and I was so angry. And I'm not really, I like don't have animals, but that makes me so angry, even if this is a fictional character. Ah,
I think that was one of the most to talk about like the general view of the book. Then I would say the dog dying was probably one of the most emotional parts of the book, and that probably says a lot.
yeah, because it's a lot of emotions and a lot of her thoughts. That's very
Yeah.
chaotic.
But it's like
and
real emotion, because a lot of the emotions, I mean, a lot of what could be emotional moments in the book are very cynically described.
Yes.
Like sex
Yes.
scenes with anyone but Theo is just the Swedish word diskbänksrealism. It's just like the physics of it. He's doing this, I'm doing that. This is
Yeah.
not working. Everything sucks. It's super awkward.
It's
I want to
pretty
go home.
gross.
It's like,
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
yeah.
And I think, I mean, like you're in the head of someone who's like, who really should get therapy, and like proper therapy, not group therapy. Like
Mental
she's
thing.
depressed, and like that's like the thing. Like she's not someone I want to spend time with. I don't want to like be in her head, honestly. And I think that's what I in the end kind of thought was interesting with it. Like because it's like kind of an awful but very complicated person. I was wondering like, well, is she gonna get like better, or like is she gonna improve or make some good choices eventually? And she kind of doesn't. But I mean, this is a mild spoiler, but she does make some. Like she pretty much hits rock bottom, and then she kind of crawls a bit out of it. So I think, and that's again like the realism part of it. Like even though you have like this merman, actual merman. Not I was honestly kind of concerned a while. I was like, is it gonna be an actual merman, or is it gonna be some sort of like, no, it wasn't, or it's just a swimmer in the end? And but it's an actual merman, which I think was kind of weird to have in this setting. Like it really heightens things and makes it really kind of odd and even more gross. Like this is like a barnacled merman. It's not like Ariel. It's like I don't know. It's
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna make a little pause there and greet our viewers. And hi, Grimskull is in the chat. That's a person I do some collabs with, say Minecraft and things like that, and also a friend of Santi. And I see we have 3 viewers. I'm not sure, but maybe Sandra should be one of them also.
Make yourself known.
Yes, Facebook user. Yes. Yes, sorry, but I need to kind of address the barnacle thing just because you said that. Because that's also a thing. I was like, if I was a mermaid, I would take care of my tail. I wouldn't let barnacles get to it. Yeah. That's really weird. Oh, yes. I'm here creeping. Yes, that's good, Sandra. Yes. So, the world building then. If we... And I can maybe start this time then. Like the world building, it's not really much of a world building, even if we have a kind of fantastical element to about this merman, because we don't really know exactly where he comes from or what kind of world he lives in. So it's very just in our world. So the only things she kind of thinks about, since she's reading Sappho, who is a real person, I guess. I don't really know. So she a poet or a musician, kind of
Both?
thing. Both, yes.
We don't know really, right? Because the writings are so old that we don't really.
And she is from Greece, right?
Yes.
Yes, and it's about Greek mythology, and she talks about Poseidon and so Aphrodite, and maybe that they somehow made this kind of race. She, what do you say?
Hypothesizing.
Yeah, about that. But that's like the only thing that maybe could be explained something. But it's not really. Yeah, we don't know what the truth is about this mer people. Only that 40 years old is old. That's what I learned about this. That was really funny. I was laughing so hard because he was like, "Yes, I'm very old. I look like
Maybe 40.
young." Yeah, I know. I was thinking he was gonna say he was like 200 years old or
Yes,
something,
me too.
and then, but I'm maybe 40. What?
Okay.
Oh
But
God.
I guess if you
Yes.
live at the bottom of the ocean, living your life, getting women to kill themselves, I guess you don't really pay attention to the revolving of the planet.
Probably.
But and also we're like, at least we're avoiding the trope of a really old man in a young body, like getting on with a
Yeah.
21-year-old human
Yeah.
female. So at least we have that.
Yes. And also, I probably that's why I chose this, because I kind of was wanting to read a book about a woman in my age. So, but it was just, I couldn't really, I could relate definitely to some parts, but maybe I didn't want to relate that. And just like she's very neurotic and depressed, and all these women in this group feels like they kind of was dragging each other down. I don't know what, like you
Yeah.
said, she should go to another kind of therapy. And
Yeah.
I've been in group
This ain't
therapy, so I don't mean it's always a bad thing, but I don't know. It felt like this.
They were not good for each other. I think
No.
we can settle that. And I agree with your analysis of the world building. I mean, we move in pretty small bubbles. I mean, there's the little bubble in Phoenix, and then there's a little bubble at Venice Beach. We don't see many different places. We don't really get much description. I was actually thinking that the storytelling isn't very good. It's kind of funky, and sometimes it's a bit of course the characters are always like the little pawns of the writer, but here sometimes it was so super obvious. It was like jumping out at you that this is a story that someone has put like pieces together, and the world building is just our world with merman in, and we don't know much more about that. So it's I wouldn't say it's not great.
Like the word building, like it's extremely surface level, because I mean, I don't think the author is really interested in mer people. It's not like, I don't think I would have wanted to know anything more about him really. I don't think it would have worked even.
Probably not.
So yeah, but if we're thinking like in terms of does it feel realistic? Yes. People.
It's probably probable.
Yeah, people are really weird. Like we do some really strange things, and we make really strange decisions. So I can totally see like this group of women in the group therapy sitting there and just like pretty much feeding each other's problems and making them worse.
Yes. So the characters then. Maybe you want to continue, Ebba?
Yeah. I don't know what I think about it. Well, I think I didn't like the main character. Like I've made clear, I didn't like her, but I did want to see where she was going. So I felt like she was kind of believable. Like she dropped everything. She was very much like selfish and put herself first all the time, and she wanted to be in a relationship, but she didn't want to be in a relationship, and she did these hookups with, I think, Tinder or whatever the.
I think it was Tinder.
Yeah, it seemed like it, and she's just like, I don't know, like a floating with it. Like she doesn't seem to have much of a goal either, and. I think, what do I think? Do I even have thoughts? Do I have a brain? One might ask.
I would say that Lucy, I don't have like a problem with her. I
Right,
don't
I forgot
dislike her, but she's not finished, and we see only such very surface part. We don't really understand why. We don't get any backstory. She's just insecure, thirsty for love, needs a lot of confirmation, and doesn't really want to be in a relationship. She just wants to feel confirmed by someone else. So
Yeah, kind of needy in a way, but kind of very.
Yeah.
like, I'm so needy, I might kill myself because I want
Yeah.
someone to love me so much.
Yeah, like extremely desperate for affection, and I do think it's mentioned a few times that like I think her parents died when she was quite young, and her sister stepped into a mother role, but at the same time she had to go to college. So I think as she brought that up a few times, I feel like maybe she's just like looked for a connection all her life. And romance and the idea of romance and like the sort of change she imagines that would have in her life is what she's looking for. Like it's her fix basically, and she
What
doesn't.
is it this doctor says? We're looking for love, but is it really love that we want?
Right. I mean that's probably it. Like I but I don't think she listened to it. Because she was too busy thinking how ugly everyone else was in the room.
And rubbing
Because that's who she is.
rubbing their feet. Okay, well, it's only one person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and someone was eating something all the time, and I don't know.
And she called someone some. What is it she calls?
Chicken horse.
Chicken horse. Yes.
Yes.
I don't remember why.
There was something about her nose. No, her face. She had long face like a horse, and she had
Chicken.
a nose and big gums like a bird. I don't know. It didn't really make sense, but it was yeah. But she had a lot of that. I was thinking that when she was on the phone with these university people, the chairs of the committees, like she could it was a nose that was talking and the chicken on somebody's jumper. The only thing she remembers about people. It's like, you're not. Yeah, she wasn't very good at remembering faces, I think.
Or names.
That's a chicken, and that's a fish, and I'm attracted to him, and that's so like what do we feel about Theo? I mean, maybe there's more to say about Lucy. Sorry, shouldn't jump the.
But Theo is also very needy. That's kind of
Yeah.
fun. Maybe not
But he's,
the
I would say, I was thinking about that now. I mean, we see him just giving her what she wants
Yeah.
all the time,
Yes.
but we never see what's behind. I mean, if
No.
he's the classic. I mean, in the end, obviously, he is a classic siren merman that is luring you in to kill you, basically. So we never understand, like, is he doing that because he needs love, or is it just an act, or is
But he
I don't know.
says that's not what sirens do, but I don't know.
Well, obviously that's what he's doing. So
Yeah, but yeah, it
I
should
felt
be,
like
but
he
I don't know.
was honest. Like I feel like he was true to his nature. Like he felt those things, and it's just like he's not human, so he doesn't work the same way. Like he can be very, very much in love, and at the same time try to lure her to her death. I don't think they're like, I think they exist both at the same time in him.
but would you say that that is love for him?
Yes, it seemed like it. For some reason, he wants to collect a bouquet of dead women and be adored forever by their silent faces or something. It's kind of weird.
I mean, maybe it's just his nature then. That's what they do. I don't know. Okay, I haven't come to that part yet, so he's just. I'm just. She's just walked in on the dog. That's where I am. So yes, and I'm okay with spoilers, so that's okay. But maybe we should take that later on then. But yes.
Is there any other characters that we want to talk about?
No, it's the Claire.
Yeah.
The Claire.
I would say I think Claire is probably a more horrible person than Lucy is.
Yes.
Ever so slightly, yes.
I actually got them a little bit mixed up. No, Diane was the one with the tennis pros.
Tennis pros, yes.
Yes.
Claire was the one who left her husband and wanted to have 3 boyfriends, but she could only find 2.
Yes.
And something about she couldn't. She's in love with one boy, but she needs to have the other one as buffer for her to. I don't know. I think she's probably a nymphomaniac. I'm not sure, but maybe something is wrong.
Yeah, but she attempted suicide and things like that.
Yes.
So I think there was a lot going on there.
Several times, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Who was the one who was abused by everyone?
Abused by everyone.
But everything she said, if she went to a new job, her boss abuses her. If she meets someone in the street, those abuses her.
That was
Everyone
Chicken
abuses
Horse.
her. That was
Chicken Horse.
She was offended by everything.
Yes.
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 Yeah, there was a very problematic group of women that we can say that, and and I guess they can be real. I don't know if I ever met exactly people like that, but
they're very heightened versions of issues people can have, I feel like. To a point where they could be maybe called caricatures,
yeah.
I think. But at the same time, kind of feel realistic because, like I said earlier, people, I mean, weird things happen in some people's lives, like really weird things happen. And for some reason, they've all gathered in this little group therapy.
But they had some kind of love addiction, or I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it's love or just, I don't know.
I don't think love is the word.
No, love
like
is not the word.
infatuation, like
Yes.
Förälskelse or sex, but it's not love. I wouldn't say
It's not
no.
love. No.
It's obsession more like, or like the need, the feeling of being needed and loved and adored, and because I might remember incorrectly now, but her boyfriend, she's kind of more interested in him when he is with his new girlfriend,
Yeah.
right? Like that makes her a bit interested again. Like when she understands that he wants to leave her and move on, then she's like, no, don't, because now I'm kind of interested again. Or am I remembering things
I
incorrectly?
kind of felt like,
I'm just
because she broke up with him and he was like, yes, I think that's a good idea. And then she was like,
the way it was.
what?
Yes, yes.
No.
No, you're
And then she kind of went like
for me,
almost
yeah.
stalkery and very obsessed from, I don't know. She's like,
Incredibly obsessed.
yeah, very problematic.
Didn't she black out or something? Or she did
She
something?
did black out, but
Too
I'm not
many
sure if
pills.
that's...
Yes.
And ended up driving and having a memory loss. And she woke up in a car that she had stopped in the middle of the road and she was covered in donuts.
Yes.
That's a wake up call.
But
Yes.
also very convenient when you wake up and you're like, oh no, donuts, and then like, finders keepers.
Don't mind if I do.
Blackout me is making some good choices.
Why am I in a car in the middle of the motorway? I don't know.
Oh, no.
Not one of the good choices.
No. So, yes,
Yes.
the relationships, then if we go back, relationships. But like we said, there's not really a good relationship ever here that we see, because it's not what it's about. It's about, sorry, I don't find the word, but more about obsession and like the neediness and just not really loving yourself.
But the relationships are all about something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the relationship with Jamie was then more about having someone, and the relationships with the guys that she meets when she comes to Los Angeles are, I mean, you can't even call those relationships.
No.
No.
Interactions more like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meetings, fleeting interactions in the world.
And I'm not sure what she wanted to do with that. It's just that she wanted to feel wanted.
Yeah, wanted, and like she's just not good at being alone, I think. And because she was also so willing to like sort of go along with whatever the guys wanted every time, like to an extreme extent, like uncomfortable extreme extent. Like no regard for like her wants really. Like she has an idea of how it's going to be really like hot and like romantic or whatever, like but it's always like the guys are like she just goes along with whatever really, and it's just always gross and awkward and leaves her like hurting in all the ways. And that's what I think was kind of interesting. Like it's contrasting like very starkly against the merman Theo, with him sort of like going the extra mile for her to be satisfied, like what do you want to do, and she takes initiative to sort of, oh, couldn't you, if I bring a wheelbarrow, can you come into the apartment or like the house, I mean, and he does that. So sorry yeah, wheelbarrow.
I was kind of picturing, like she said, it looked like a little like wagon for children. You know, the little red ones. That's what I was picturing.
I was picturing a wheelbarrow and like hauling him around. I think it's probably what you were thinking about.
I think she said that it was red.
Yes.
And when she was in the...
It was like a wagon that she pulled.
Red, yeah.
So yeah, obviously not what I was.
Yeah, but it's interesting how her relationship with Theo is a little bit the other way around compared to what she has had before. Like before, she's just following. Exactly. Yes. That's what I was thinking.
That's more reasonable.
But bigger, I guess.
Yeah, bigger, but kind
Yes.
of like
Yeah.
this. Oh, an idiot. Like this.
Aw.
Aw, so cute.
Makes me think of preschool children. Yeah, that she in the other relationships, not with Theo, she's like just following and going along with dumb stuff that she probably shouldn't have. And Theo definitely does that for her. I mean, he's putting himself in extremely dangerous situations just to be with her
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, definitely.
That's why I didn't really understand that he wanted to like lure her into the water, since he never ever asked her to follow him. But I don't know if that's coming. I know he says something about that when he's leaving.
The end is
Yeah.
quite a lot about that. I mean, that is when
Yeah.
this whole thing plays out in the last pages.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I kind of, the way I thought of it was like, in a way, like she can never really not repair herself, but you get what I mean. Like she can never really get to the root of her issues if she'd go along with him, if she'd stay with Theo. Like I mean, a dog died because of her relationship with him. Like she's not handling this in the right way, and neither is him really. Like he is also like doing things he probably shouldn't. So in order for her to like actually start to deal with her own shit, she can't be with him. Like it's so to go with him is suicide. Like, but I don't know if it's supposed to be read that sort of. I don't know.
I think in the last pages, it becomes kind of clear that that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, I hope so.
There's no turning into a mermaid.
No.
There's no magically being in a relationship underwater, learning to swim.
It's not The Shape of Water.
No.
No.
Like, no.
Yes.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, that.
Yeah, we should probably have put up that earlier, but anyway, it's okay.
Yeah, if we're not allowed to do spoilers, then you should have.
We are definitely allowed to do spoilers, but we usually just put up there if you want to skip some parts.
Watch at your own risk.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. So, well, the next thing is the story and the ending, and like I said, I'm not sure if it really is a story. I mean, I guess it's a story, but it's not like our typical kind of fantasy story when we have like this, like a goal for something. This is more like a journey for a character journey.
It doesn't start in the Shire anymore.
No,
Not. No. It's yeah, I understand what you mean. It's more like we visit this person in the events of her life during like a period of time, and then we just leave her, because the ending is quite. She doesn't die in the end. Spoiler alert. Yeah.
No? Okay.
Well,
She
that's
does.
up, so it's fine. You can say whatever.
Yeah. The
Exactly.
scientist.
Yeah.
But she does restart, and I actually thought I was a bit disappointed that the book ended, because she decides to stay with her sister asks her to stay.
She does. She killed
Yeah.
her dog.
Well, the sister doesn't see it that way, and I would say that sister is probably the most realistic person. I mean, if I have asked my brother to, I don't have any sisters, so I'm just, yeah. If my brothers were babysitting were cat sitting my cats for, what is it, like 3 months,
Yeah.
and one of them died, I wouldn't be angry with my brother for having to deal with the fact that one of my cats died. I would be, of course, be very upset that my cat died. But if I don't have any reason to suspect that he deliberately killed my cat, I wouldn't be upset with him.
Yeah.
So the sister sees this as an opportunity to reconnect with her sister, and she actually asks her to stay for a while because she's dealing with the death of a dog, which she obviously loves very much. So she wants the sister to stay, and Lucy kind of leaves to go with Theo, and then changes her mind and come back, and that's when it starts like an actually maybe a positive development in her life, and that's when the story ends. It's like finally a good decision, and then the end.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like all these bad decisions and everything, and then finally there is this change. Like she does make one decision is like no Theo, and then when her sister says stay, like okay, yeah, that's the good one. Like that's now she's actually like she's left the men behind, I almost said, but like she's left. But she's left like chasing whatever that is, and just like no, moving on and actually giving like her sister, which seems to be a very positive force in her life, and who just wants her, the good things to happen for her, and she finally sort of goes along with it. But poor dog had to die for that.
Yes. Yeah, but I feel like even before she was with Theo, she kind of neglected the dog. So I was already thinking something was going to happen to that dog.
I think, I mean, it's not nice to. I mean, it's pretty heartbreaking reading, and the dog is so nice, and he just loves her, and you're just like, oh, this is gonna end badly somehow. Like we can't have nice things here. But
No.
it is one of those things like neglecting your like the animals that you have or you own is part of mental illness. It's very common. So it's very
actually her sister should have maybe thought about that.
Yeah, maybe like should, but I don't think she realized how like what state of mind her sister is in. It's I also it's another one of those things like if a lot of things might not seem as bad on the surface as when you're like actual in the everyday with someone or like way closer like that, and they live like they take an airplane right to get to each other, so it's like they live very far away from each other. So even though it was heartbreaking, it was also one of those like, yeah, I can see this happening, like animals being hurt when
I don't understand why she didn't understand that the dog was unnerved by Theo. And she was like, when he attacked him, like, what? I didn't know he was gonna do that. That made me also angry. Like, why don't you understand about this dog? But maybe that's also just part of her. Because because I don't have animals, so I don't know much about animals either. But that's much I know.
Well, I think give me a fish and I wouldn't know what to do with it. I wouldn't know if it was happy, angry, what would make it happy, if why aren't you eating? I'm feeding you. Like I think it's one of those things, like she just don't understand how the dog works. Partially because she understands when he wants to go out and play and move and things like that. So she kind of chooses when to neglect him. I feel like
it can also be. I mean, she obviously has very strong feelings for Theo by the time she brings him to the house, and sometimes you just don't want to see the signs because you want something else.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
You want things to be nice with Theo so that the dog doesn't like him, doesn't fit in. So you need to do something to get the dog out of the way.
Pills.
Yeah. Let's sedate him.
Gang sign. Pills.
Pills, not pills.
Yes. I kind of want to discuss the sex scenes. And also, I know we have already talked about that, but also with Theo, because I thought it was just as gross with Theo.
Sorry,
the
I'm
other
very
one.
uncomfortable. I need to fix it. I'm going to mute myself. Do
Okay, do it. So, well, like we are used to graphic sex scenes, but this was another kind of graphic and not really nice. It was just gross. Or was it some part you did enjoy? I didn't.
No, I don't think they were. No, they weren't. They weren't sexy. For the most of it, I mean, the parts with Thea were at least like where it felt like she got something out of it.
Yes.
But otherwise, it was just like, oh, Animal Planet. Like it's just like
Yeah.
no.
You know. Yeah, and all this thinking about, and she was like I wrote in the comment section for this book that I mean in our group, the thing about using the word pussy like over and over again, like 3 times in the same sentence, and all her thoughts she had about him being a pussy, and I don't know, it was so weird. It's a lot about like
Yeah, this book had a lot of yes, that's exactly like
word pooping.
yeah, like these reasonings that she had about them. You remember this like monologue she has about them being the same person,
Yes.
or he is a baby and I am the womb, or am I the baby and he's the womb, am I the woman, he's the woman, we're the same person. It's like it was very like spiritual and cosmic, and it's like,
Weird.
No.
is somebody high maybe a little
Maybe,
bit?
yeah, exactly.
Information.
Oh
digging
yes,
here.
you have the information. Yes, about this author.
She is more. I'm not sure I'm using the right word, but she's more of a poet. She apparently has like a Twitter. Twitter poetry is apparently a thing, but she is a Twitter poet with a lot of followers, and I think this might be her first. No, it's not her first book, but. So she's a poet, and I feel like that makes sense when I read it, and I was like, oh, okay. and and after reading it, I also watched a video of her like talking about this book, and she was like, yeah, well, in my poetry, I like to use like I don't know, blah blah blah, and sex as sort of a way to talk about things. So it's like, and I was like, yeah, that also makes sense, like considering like how the sex was depicted and used in a way. Like I get it. It's just it's not like it can get that sort of like I'm not someone who reads a lot of poetry. I don't know if you guys do. No.
Neither.
Because
And I
sometimes
don't
it's really
really
hard to
enjoy it.
understand and like, yeah, I don't, where are you getting at? That's
Yeah,
and
but
that's
I would also say, I mean, this book was a romance book, but it's not really about romance. The sex is
No.
not about
no,
the romantic relationship between two characters.
No.
It's always about something else. The sex with Theo is about something else, and the sex with the other people
Yeah.
is also about something else. So none of it was. It's not really a romance book.
No.
Like, I'm
No,
going to
it's-
come out and say it. It's not really a romance.
you are absolutely correct. Like I said, catfish.
Yes, it tricks you.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not as I started reading it, I was like, yeah, this is not a Viking booty book. But
No.
here we are.
Yes, but it is a good.
It'll be interesting, and it'll be a break
Yes.
from, and I think we can
Yeah,
discuss
it was
what we
definitely an
not
experience.
usually do. So I was like, I mean, it might be great in the end for that, but it's not a Viking
Yes.
booty book.
Does she write about supernatural elements normally also?
No, I don't think so at all. I haven't checked out any of her poetry or anything like that, but I got the feeling from she has another book out. Let's see, which I think is maybe read more. Yeah, so personal essays is one of her books. So sad today, personal essays. And then she has a book called Milk Fed, which I think might be her latest book. Food, sex, God, what?
Yeah.
Los Angeles again, detox.
No, Sandra, it will not.
I don't see any supernatural things.
I was just gonna say, Sandra commented that this should be a new Facebook, new Viking booty genre, but I don't think so. I was just gonna say, I don't think this writer will ever come up in this book club again because
No.
I think this was the first and last time for this book, but catfishing can always happen again.
Definitely. And I have learned stuff about what I want to read. So
Yeah, well, that's good.
so I think it was a good choice anyway. I'm glad I read it actually.
I liked it. I don't think it's a perfect novel, but I liked what I got to thinking about, and it's kind of funny because so the runner-up for this month's reading was Into the Drowning Deep by, and now the name escapes me, by Myra Grant, which is more like underwater horror take on mermaids, and I highly recommend it. But it was kind of funny to read that and then go to this, and like the depictions are so different, and just it was a palate cleanser to read the Pisces, I feel.
I think that's maybe what we want to say about this book, but next book, it's gonna be, there we have Rune Marks by Joanne Harris.
Are we not going to talk about the end?
Well, what we didn't we? Or do you want to say more about the end?
Well, I guess not. The dog dies. She doesn't die. Theo's an asshole. She makes up with her sister. I think it was a good ending. The ending was one of the best parts of the book.
Yeah, that's what I took from what you said. So I think we are kind of done with the book, or if you have something. But the next book is Rune Marks by Joanne Harris. It's about North mythology, right? Norse. Sorry,
that was for kids, so that should be.
Is it young adult or even
no?
younger?
It might be even younger.
It sounds fun. So, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think I just need a little bit of fun. So it's not really a Viking booty book again then, but anywho, I think it's gonna be fun. So, and that's gonna be on the October 5th. Yeah, our social media we have here on the link bio. Can find all our links there, or else you just search for Viking Booty BC or Book Club, then you can find us on social media. Yes. No. Hide. Yes. So that's it then. That's it for today. And this Great. Yes, so you all people out there, I hope you enjoyed this book discussion. Maybe you want to read the Pisces or maybe not, but it was definitely an experience. I would say
Read
that.
about the author first. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yes. So, well, we will see you next month. Bye.